Hello, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Capril. Today, I am drinking out of a Yeti cup that the clone, my son Wes, got from his former employer, Baxter. I thought it was my Bengals one, which, by the way, I was all prepared to talk about the Bengals. In fact, why don't we do a little bit of that? First of all, I have a lot of clients who live in the Kansas City area because I lived there for 8 years, and I do love the Chiefs. In fact, up until the Joe Burrow era, I was all in Chiefs all the time, simply because they offered some hope. Although in reality, the Chiefs and the Bengals have a very similar history. That until recently, both teams were pretty good at getting to the playoffs, but couldn't win a damn game in the playoffs. And now, because they both have quarterbacks who know how to win, well, they get in. So I did want the Bengals to win this year. Chiefs had already won 4 years ago, but I'm very happy for the Chiefs. I breaks my heart to see the way the Royals, even though they did win the World Series not that long ago, because of the way the finances are structured in Major League Baseball, how the Royals have become like a minor league team, and I hate that. The Reds are the same way, as a matter of fact. So it is nice when you can get a team like the Chiefs to succeed. No team loves its team more. No city loves its team more than the Kansas City Chiefs. I will tell you that. I've lived in a number of cities, and no, they just love their team. People love the Bengals too, but when the Bengals aren't playing particularly well, there's often just as many fans of the other team in the stadium as there are Bengals fans. But that is different now, so that's changed. All right. So enough about the Super Bowl. I was happy for the Chiefs. I know you Eagles fans out there felt you get robbed. Well, you know what? That's that's sports. In any event, I wanted to talk a little bit about what someone asked me about recently, which is, what do you do when you're retired and the market suddenly tanks? Um, what do you do? Can you just ride it out when you're already retired and you need some money? And the answer is, well, yes, you can, but this is why diversification is so important. You can diversify your portfolio a number of ways, but ultimately you're going to have a conservative component and you're going to have an aggressive component. And the conservative component is for the short term, and the aggressive is for the long term. Now, one strategy is you take the money that you need in the next 5 to 7 years and you make it very conservative. You put it in cash, you put it in bonds, you don't subject it to much volatility at all, and you live off of that. In the meantime, the other half grows potentially over that period of time and hopefully replaces what you've been pulling out. And that strategy can work quite well. You do just need to be somewhat smart about the withdrawal rate in which you're taking. The other approach is, well, you have a part that's fixed, and you have a part that's aggressive, and you incrementally pull from each one, and you constantly rebalance along the way. And that works very well too. The thing you need to understand is that having a negative year during retirement doesn't have to destroy your retirement. In fact, I fully expect it. Most of the time, when we are working with a client in retirement years, we are expecting a range of returns. And of that range, about 25% of the expected returns, maybe a little bit more, are negative, but the majority are positive. And so we factor that in when we make our recommendations as to how much they can withdraw from. So as long as you don't aggressively sell when you're down, you should be able to weather that storm. Remember also that even though we don't know exactly how long you're going to live, the older you are, the fewer number of years your portfolio has to make it. So if somebody who wants to retire at 50 and let's say they're going to live to 90, their money's going to have to last a lot longer than somebody who retires, say, at 75. So if someone is 75 and there's been a market decline, it isn't necessarily going to destroy the plan because the money doesn't have to last quite as long. But just remember that historically declines are temporary. They're not permanent. And so we know going in, we're going to see it this way. We know there's going to be a series of ups and downs. Don't let that impact you emotionally to where you stop doing the things you want to do or you make bad decisions because of it. I mean, the worst thing you can do is sell after you've lost. But, I don't like to think of them in terms of losses. I like to think of them as decline in value because that's exactly what they are. All right. Understand that over the course of your retirement, you may have, should have, probably more up years than down, but you're going to give back some of those up years. I've had clients who assume that every time they have an up year, that that's their new starting point. No, it's not. I mean, I'd love for it to think you're always going to be making more money, but I have people say, "Oh, I've lost all this money." I'm like, "Well, no. If you started with say 100,000 and grew to 200,000 and now it's at 160, you may think you lost 40 grand. I don't. I see you as having still made 60 because that's what you did." So keep that in mind too, because psychologically our thought process can get in the way. Strategically, it's all about being diversified. It's all about having a component of your money in aggressive and a component of your money in relatively conservative, and then either proportionally pulling the money out or taking the conservative first and the aggressive secondly. I will tell you, having looked at them, the results are usually very close to the same. Psychologically, I think having your money in buckets can maybe be a little bit more appealing. So being retired doesn't mean you want to immune yourself from volatility. You're going to need volatility during your retirement years because most of the time volatility is upward sloping, and that's what's going to help you to stay ahead of inflation and taxation. So I hope that helps. I want to thank my client Cynthia for making this recommendation for today's discussion. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Take care. Bye-bye.